All right. I apologize now for anyone who's Maori or whatever. I'm going to try and read this. Anyway, okay. Story from the NA Basic Text. Kia ora Koutou. NA's message got through to this Maori addict. She got clean out of spite, but she stayed clean because of hope. Kia ora Koutou. Ko taku ingoa. My name is. I'm not going to read that part. I'm just going to read the poem part. Okay. My name is. My mountain is Hikurangi. My river is Waiapawa. My sacred place is Rongopai. My tribe is Aitanga Mahaki. I am from New Zealand, and I am an addict. I should have just read that last part and ignored the top. Anyway. Alright, here's the story. Where do I begin? A story that I shouldn't be here to tell. I'm a Maori woman who came into this program kicking and screaming. I was 28 and had been court ordered to attend a treatment program in Auckland, New Zealand. I believed treatment was a get out of jail card for me. I would use when I left. I knew I was an addict when I first used alcohol at the age of 13. After that first drink, I remember thinking, hey, I really like this feeling. Then I proceeded to black out. I binged for a while, drinking on Friday nights, but went from using alcohol to smoking dope to hitting doctors up for prescription drugs to injecting hard drugs. Wow, the progression was fast. I was shocked at how quickly it happened. By the time I was 18, I was a single mom with a 2-year-old daughter, living on welfare in public housing, using on the government methadone scheme. From the beginning, my goal was to be an addict. I loved the feeling of being out of it. I was heavily involved in the criminal underworld, and the chaotic lifestyle was exciting. My family loved me dearly, but I continually ripped them off. All the promises I made to them were empty. I promise I'll stop, Mom. I just need some money to organize myself. I promise I'll turn up. I promise I'll get help. I promise I'll be there for my little girl's birthday. Yeah, right. My family knew my addiction was killing me, but I couldn't see it. They decided to care for my children, to keep them safe from me. What a blessing that was. I tried to change. I moved, thinking new city, new start. I would get a couple months, but once I started again, I couldn't stop. I tried relationships to get clean, but I always chose addicts. I tried mental institutions, but they gave me more drugs. I tried finding God on my own, but that didn't work. I couldn't understand why I continued to use when my life was crumbling around me. Physically, I was shot. I lost all my teeth, and I weighed about 6.5 stone. I was devoid of any concept of a higher power, and my waria was broken. I really only thought of one thing: how I could use and get more drugs. I could not see any cure. I was an addict, and addicts use drugs, full stop. If that meant killing myself in the process, then so be it. By the end of my using, it wasn't pretty. I was wanted by the so-called friends for ripping them off. My wahani didn't want to see me because all I brought was cops in trouble, and cops just thought I was a nuisance addict who created a lot of paperwork. They wanted to put me away, out of their hair. I hated myself and everyone around me. I couldn't even kill myself properly. I would wake up in the emergency ward and think, what the hell are you doing keeping me alive for? I was sitting on the wrong side of a window at Auckland Police Station where my partner was trying to get me bail. He had brought our children with him and they were crying, wanting to know when Mommy was coming home. My partner pleaded with me to stop using and to look at the pain I was causing our wahanu. For that brief moment, I told myself, this has to stop. Deep inside, I had had enough. The next day, I appeared before the judge and I was told either to go to treatment or to go to jail. I thought I took the easy way out and chose treatment, but it would have been far easier to go to jail for 3 months than to go to all those groups. Who wants to find out how you really feel inside? Who wants to find out all those relationships you had were based on nothing but your addiction? Who wants to find out that you have an incurable disease, but that it can be arrested? Not me. On my first day of treatment, I took the bus with all my suitcases to my dealer for a last taste. I arrived at the treatment center facility an hour late. When I got there, the manager told me I was too late, that 8 a.m. was the time to come in. I was told to come back a week later. I was furious that she could refuse me, an addict crying for help, stoned actually. And I told her that this was bull, and I would show her. Out of pure stubbornness, I set out to prove that I could do this. That was the decision that saved my life. I've been clean over 19 years since that first day. The miracle that happens when one addict helps another is without parallel. I started treatment not knowing what to expect. Every morning, I would wake up with my body screaming to use. I would talk to myself and say, for the next 10 minutes, I won't use, and it would pass. Those 10-minute slots turned into days, then weeks, then months. Through NA, I started to hear the message of hope. Slowly, my clean eyes saw people in the rooms who I had used with. These were no-hopers in my mind, and they had stopped using. They looked happy. This gave me hope that because I could do it too, that maybe I could do it too. My muddled head started to get clearer as the drugs came out of my system. I was learning to practice the steps in treatment and soaking up all the healing that happens with addicts helping each other. Yet I had reservations about staying clean. I didn't think I could do it. I had no belief in myself. I graduated from treatment, but out in the real world, I was full of fear. I hung in there at all costs because I was too scared to go back. I found that freedom from active addiction comes with a price. I did everything I was told to do. I left the love of my life because he was still using, and I knew that I wouldn't stay clean if I went back. I never hooked up with any of my using mates. For fear of picking up, I gave up my house and all my possessions to move across town. I wanted a fresh life for myself and my children. I was told when I left treatment to get a sponsor, go to meetings, and don't use at all costs. To tell the truth, that's all I did. I went to meetings, worked the steps, and didn't pick up. Even though every day for the first 2 years, my first waking thought was that I wanted to use drugs. After I had earned the respect of my wahanu, I was able to have my kids come live with me. I was still a single mom with small children, living on welfare in a state house, but I was clean. I had NA meetings and our 12 steps to help me. I learned a valuable lesson. Thinking about using drugs does not mean actually doing it. I started to accept my powerlessness over addiction. The first 2 years of recovery were a grieving process for me. I grieved for my own lifestyle. I grieved to use drugs like wanting an old, familiar lover. I grieved for my old friends, and I grieved for my rituals of using. Slowly, as I moved away from this grief by staying clean one day at a time, I was letting my addict go. I felt empty inside. That's when I started to get a handle on the second step. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. I so loved this step. It allowed me to see that I needed to fill myself up with something else. NA meetings, my sponsor, the group, and working the steps would all help to restore me to sanity. Each day in those first 2 years was hard, but it was a program of firsts. The first time getting through feeding myself and my mouth clean, the first time meeting with teachers and getting kids to the school clean, the first time paying bills on time clean, first time opening a bank account clean, sharing in meetings clean, having coffee with the other recovering addicts clean, the first time I had sex clean. That's a biggie. Slowly I started to change. I remember the first time I woke up without having the desire to use drugs. It took 2 years, but the desire was removed for that moment. Wow, that was a huge milestone. For a moment, my sanity had been restored. I started to feel good about who I was and where I belonged in this world. I started to understand the message of hope for this addict. After that miracle, I decided to get off the dole by going back to school and got a degree in social work. I had left school at 15, had no formal education, and thought I was a dummy. But it was possible because I had found the rims of NA. My family was pretty stoked as well, as I'm not the only one in my family who went to university. As I'm the only one in my family who went to university. I have been a productive member of society for a while now, holding down a straight Mary tea towel job for the last 15 years of recovery. Sometimes it blows my mind. I'm in these professional meetings thinking, is this really me? I pinch myself sometimes at the miracles in my life. I have the biggest gift, my children's company, respect, and Aroha. That has truly been a miracle. I bought my first house in recovery. I have a wicked job that I love and get paid for. I got my driver's license at 30 and have a car. I have money in the bank that I worked hard for. I don't have to rob and steal to make ends meet. I have no longer standing on street corners waiting for the man to turn up. I don't have cops busting my door, and I have this unshakable faith that all will be well, no matter what happens. As long as I don't pick up, I go to meetings, and I trust my higher power. If you are reading this and are new to the program, please give yourself a break. Go on. Take it a day at a time, minute by minute if need be. Ring someone in NA and get to a meeting, because I promise you, there is hope for us addicts, and miracles happen way beyond your wildest dreams. God's will for us all. Big love. Thanks for listening. If you like these stories, like listening to me read them, go ahead and subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when I read another story.